Hey man, let me tell you something that's going to change how you navigate every relationship from this moment forward. Dating in the modern world is not what they told you it was. It's not about finding love. It's not about connection. It's not about being a good man and hoping she appreciates it. It's a battlefield, and the battlefield isn't physical, it's psychological. You're not just dealing with attraction and compatibility. You're facing a series of subtle power plays designed to strip you of your masculine essence one piece at a time. Female manipulation doesn't look like the movies. It's not some grand betrayal or dramatic act of deceit. It's quiet. It's gradual. It's death by 1,000 soft jabs. A harmless test here. A playful dig there. A guilt trip disguised as vulnerability. An emasculating comment wrapped in humor. And before you know it, you're walking on eggshells, you're apologizing for having standards, you're second-guessing your own reality, you're unsure of what you even believe anymore. Your masculinity has been eroded, and you didn't even see it happening. That ends today. I'm going to give you the complete tactical breakdown of every manipulation technique used against men in dating. Not so you can hate women, but so you can never be controlled by one again, because you cannot fight what you don't see. And once you see these tactics clearly, they lose all power over you. Let's begin. The first thing you need to understand is the foundation of all manipulation. It works by exploiting your emotional investment. When a woman senses that your self-worth is tied to her validation, that you need her approval to feel okay about yourself, she knows you can be moved. And the moment you can be moved, you can be controlled. It starts subtly. She tests how much of your identity you're willing to trade to please her. She might tell you she doesn't like how you dress, how you talk to other women, how confident you are, how much time you spend on your purpose. And it always sounds reasonable at first, like she's just looking out for you, like she just cares. But here's what's actually happening. She's gauging how much of yourself you'll abandon to keep her happy. And every time you give in, every time you change something about yourself to avoid her disapproval, you start disappearing from yourself. That's not love, that's conditioning. The first counter is simple. Recognize it. When you feel pressure to change something core to who you are to please her, that's a red flag. Not because growth is bad, but because growth that comes from her pressure rather than your decision is surrender, not evolution. The man who knows himself doesn't reshape himself for anyone's approval. Now let's talk about the most common weapon in the manipulation arsenal, emotional reaction harvesting. Here's how it works. She says something triggering, something designed to poke you. Maybe it's an accusation. You're probably talking to other girls. Maybe it's a dig. You're so sensitive. Maybe it's a comparison. My ex used to actually plan dates. She doesn't say these things because they're true. She says them to see how much control she has over your emotional state. The more you explain yourself, the more you defend, the more you justify, the more power you hand her. Because every reaction proves you can be moved, and what can be moved can be controlled. Here's the counter: non-reactivity. When she throws something triggering at you, don't take the bait. Don't explain, don't defend, don't even acknowledge it with your energy. Smile slightly, look at her calmly, say something like, interesting take, or just stay silent. Let the statement hang in the air without your reaction giving it oxygen. That unbothered energy drives her insane because it shows you cannot be steered. Your mood is not her remote control. When a man becomes emotionally predictable, he becomes emotionally programmable. Your stillness is your shield. Next tactic, guilt weaponization. This is the phrase that starts the trap. If you loved me, you would. Or, I just feel like I'm not important to you anymore. Or, you never prioritize me. These sound like emotional expressions. They sound like vulnerability, but look closer. What she's actually doing is making your decisions about her feelings. She's training you to ask yourself before every choice, will this upset her? And the moment that question becomes your filter, you've lost your frame. You start bending, making yourself smaller, abandoning your standards to avoid the guilt she's attached to your actions. This is how emasculation begins, not with an attack, but with an emotional toll booth. You pay with pieces of yourself every time you pass through. Here's the counter. Decide from principle, not guilt. Your love is not proven by compliance. Your value is not measured by how much you bend. When she says, "If you loved me, you wouldn't do that," recognize what's happening. She's trying to redefine your love as obedience. A high-value man leads with clarity, not fear of disappointing her. He does what's right based on principle, and if she can't handle that kind of strength, she's not ready for a real man. Say it out loud if you have to. I'm not going to be guilted into abandoning my standards. I'll consider your feelings, but I make my decisions based on what's right. That's not cold, that's leadership. Let's expose the bait and switch trap. This one is insidious because it starts with pleasure. In the beginning, she's affectionate, attentive. She texts first, she plans things, she showers you with attention and validation. You start to relax. You start to let your guard down. You start to believe this is how it will always be. Then suddenly, she pulls back. She becomes distant, cold, vague. The warmth evaporates, and you find yourself confused, chasing, wondering what you did wrong, trying to get back to that version of her that once existed. This isn't love, this is conditioning. She's training you like Pavlov's dog. Do what she likes and the affection flows. Do what she doesn't like and it gets cut off. Over time, you become addicted to her warmth. You start doing things, not because you want to, but because you're scared of the cold. That's not relationship, that's emotional control. Here's the counter. Stop measuring your security by her presence. When she withdraws, don't chase, don't panic, don't start performing. Hold your frame, stay planted. Let her silence echo in her own head, not yours. Keep living your life, keep pursuing your mission. Let her see that your stability doesn't depend on her proximity. If she respects you, she'll come back. If she doesn't, her absence is doing you a favor. A man who can hold steady through her withdrawal is a man she cannot manipulate with affection. Now let's talk about vulnerability as a weapon. This one will trip you up if you have a protector's heart. She'll cry, she'll break down, she'll say things like, "I just want to feel loved," or "I'm trying so hard." And this often comes right after she's disrespected you, right after she's crossed a boundary, right after you've stood your ground on something. The tears aren't remorse, they're redirection. She's flipping the emotional energy. She's making herself the victim so you become the aggressor, even when you did nothing wrong. And if you fall for it, you'll find yourself apologizing for enforcing basic standards. Here's the counter. Stay in your frame. When she breaks down after you've held a boundary, don't get pulled into the emotional whirlwind. Stay calm. Speak slowly. Say, "We'll talk when things are calmer." Then walk away. Not in anger, but in control. Let her sit with her own mess. If she truly respects you, she'll come back with clarity. If she escalates, she's revealed exactly who she is. A woman's tears are not automatically truth, and your compassion should not be weaponized against your own standards. Let me give you another one. Comparison warfare. This is brutal because it strikes directly at your masculine identity. She'll subtly mention her ex, or a male friend, or even a celebrity. He just gets it. He knew how to handle a strong woman. He never used to act like that. These are not innocent comments. They're engineered to make you feel inadequate. So you work harder for her approval. The weak man bites. He starts changing himself to meet some imaginary standard she probably doesn't even respect. But the strong man sees the game. Here's the counter. Call the bluff with zero fear. When she compares you to someone else, look her in the eye and say, "Then maybe he's a better fit for you." That one sentence shatters her power because it tells her you're not afraid to walk away. And the moment a woman knows you can leave without flinching, she reevaluates how she treats you. Immediately. Never compete with ghosts. Never chase a standard designed to keep you running. Either you're enough as you are, or she can go find her fantasy. Now let's address the intimacy leverage trap. Many women, consciously or not, use sex as a tool of reward and punishment. When things are good, when you're compliant, when you're agreeable, the bedroom door is open. But the moment you say no to her demands, the moment you hold a boundary, the moment you don't perform the way she wants, suddenly she's too tired, too stressed, too not in the mood. It becomes transactional, and most men panic. They start chasing, apologizing, supplicating, doing whatever it takes to restore the intimacy. And that's when she knows she owns you. Here's the counter. Never let your leadership be controlled by access. Sex is not love. And lack of sex is not a reason to abandon your principles. When she withholds, don't chase, don't beg, don't negotiate. Continue leading your life. Stay focused on your purpose. Let her feel your steady presence that doesn't crack under pressure. If she values you, she'll come back with genuine desire. If she doubles down on the manipulation, you've just learned everything you need to know. Your sexual access should never be the price of your dignity. Let me expose one of the most silent killers: identity erosion through shame. This is subtle. It often looks like humor, sometimes even affection. You still play that game? That's cute. The gym stuff is kind of superficial, don't you think? Your friends are a little immature. You should really dress differently. She's not trying to help you. She's trying to disconnect you from the things that make you feel strong, your hobbies, your passions, your friendships, your routines. Over time, you stop doing what fills you up. You become smaller, quieter, more agreeable, and easier to control. Here's the counter. Have non-negotiables. There are parts of your identity that no woman gets to touch. Your workouts, your business, your creative pursuits, your purpose. If she mocks them, she's mocking who you are. And that's not something you negotiate with. That's a red flag you act on. The man who stays powerful is the man who refuses to shrink, ever. Now let's talk about the emotional double standard. This one hides in plain sight. She's allowed to cry, yell, insult, storm out, and you're supposed to be understanding. But the moment you raise your voice or express any anger, suddenly you're abusive, toxic, scary. This imbalance is designed to make you ashamed of your masculine edge. But here's the truth. Masculine anger is not evil, it's fuel. It only becomes destructive when it's reactive and undisciplined. When it's controlled and grounded, it becomes a boundary. Here's the counter. Advocate for your own emotional rights. When she tries to shame you for expressing yourself, calmly say, "My emotions matter too. If we want emotional safety in this relationship, we both deserve it." Her face might tighten, but her respect will rise, because men who advocate for themselves are rare, and women remember rare. Let me give you the ultimate test, the chaos creation tactic. Things are peaceful, things are good, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, she starts a fight about nothing. She brings drama when there's no drama. She provokes when there's no reason. She creates confusion when everything is clear. Why? Because she wants to see if you stay calm when the world burns. This is where most men fail. They react, they defend, they yell, they match her energy, and in doing so, they hand her the throne. Here's the counter: stillness. Don't engage the chaos. Don't explain yourself. Don't try to fix what isn't broken. Look at her calmly and say, "We're not doing this right now. When you're ready to speak with respect, I'll listen." Then walk away. That one move tells her you're a man who governs his own world, and in her storm, she'll crave the safety of your unmoved presence. Now let me tie this all together. Every manipulation tactic works for one reason. It assumes you need something from her. Validation, approval, love, connection. The moment she controls the supply of something you need, she controls you. But when you become emotionally complete without her, when your peace, your confidence, your identity are self-generated, her tactics fall flat. Every guilt trip bounces off. Every withdrawal fails to rattle you. Every comparison lands in empty space because you don't need her to feel whole. You're already whole. And a man who cannot be shaken is a man who cannot be manipulated. That's the real counter to all of this. Not learning responses, not memorizing tactics, becoming the man whose internal state is ungovernable by external circumstances. Here's the final truth I want to leave you with. Women aren't evil, but female nature is designed to test. She tests not to destroy you, but to reveal you. She tests to see if your masculine core is solid or soft. She pushes not because she wants to dominate you, but because she craves to surrender to a man who won't be moved. The manipulation, the emasculation, the mind games, they're not attacks, they're exposure mechanisms. They show you where your wounds are, where your boundaries are weak, where your self-respect is still negotiable. And once you see these patterns clearly, you never fall into them again. You become the man who observes the game from above instead of reacting from within. You become the man who speaks once, holds frame, and enforces consequences through presence, not argument. You become the man who doesn't explain, doesn't defend, doesn't chase, because his peace is non-negotiable and his value is self-evident. So stop trying to win her over by explaining, proving, convincing. The man she can't control is the man she can't forget. He lives by a code he bends for no one. He can love her deeply and still leave the moment she tries to leash his freedom. That's not cruelty. That's sovereignty. That's the man she tests for. That's the man she secretly hopes you'll become. And if you're watching this, you're already on your way. Because awareness is the first weapon, and you now have the full arsenal. Use it wisely. Protect your peace. Guard your identity. Let her throw whatever she wants at you. You're no longer playing the game. You've transcended it. And from this position, no woman can manipulate you, emasculate you, or shake you. You're not afraid of her tactics. You see them before they land. You counter them without losing your calm. And you walk forward, unbroken, unbothered, and completely free. That's the man she can't manipulate. That's the man she can't tame. That's the man she can't forget. And that's the man you're becoming, starting now.